College Readiness and Rhetorical Analysis. Welcome to Unit 1, Part 1. Here you can find a guide to the PowerPoint. Notice, this PowerPoint contains discussion post number 1 and journal entry number 2. Discussion post number 1 should be answered on Canvas by the due date. Journal entry number 2 should be answered in your digital journal as always. Let's start by talking about context. Let's review why building context matters. Context, everything you need to know. Context equals clarity. Context is everything that helps us understand what we see, hear, read, etc. The more context we have, the more we can understand something. Imagine reading a book with the middle pages missing. You would be missing important context to understanding the story. Think of the phrase, "that was taken out of context." Context is like puzzle pieces. The more pieces you add to the puzzle, the clearer the image becomes. Think of context building as a pre-reading strategy. Having background information regarding the topic of a reading will help in understanding. Context helps us understand references made by the author. It can help us understand key terms in the context of the reading. It can also help us make sense of the data we encounter in a reading. This PowerPoint is filled with context helpful to understanding the readings in this unit, so after reading it, you'll have a much easier time understanding the articles because you'll have much more context related to the topic. So let's do some context building for this PowerPoint. Topic: who is your average community college student? Well, 45% of all undergraduates in the United States attend community colleges. 51% are 21 years old and younger. 41% of community college students are first-time students, and 70% of ELAC students specifically are part-time students. Keep this in mind when we talk about average community college students. So what is college readiness? Let's take a listen. This refers to how prepared community college students are to succeed in community college courses. College readiness refers to a student's capacity to enroll at a post-secondary institution. A post-secondary institution means after high school. To take credit-bearing classes beginning in the first year, earn passing grades in courses, and persist to their educational goals. So what this means is that students should be prepared to not only attend credit-level college courses, but to successfully pass those courses and continue on to complete things like certificates, degrees, transfer to universities, go on to graduate school, etc. Here you can find community college demographics across the United States from 2015 to 2019. The employment status of students. 62% of all full-time students at community colleges work, and 72% of all part-time students at community colleges work. This means that we understand that community college students bear a lot of responsibilities. So keep in mind that almost 50% of all college students are in community colleges. There is a pronounced and widening socioeconomic gap in college access and success in the United States. The leading cause for this gap is a lack of college readiness. The multidimensional set of skills, traits, habits, and knowledge that students need to enter and succeed in college. So if you take a look at the image on the bottom left of this slide, you will see on the right-hand side we have college access, and we have a potential student. Now, in order to succeed in college, this student needs college readiness. So even if they have access to college, they might not have access to success because they don't have the college readiness in order to get them there. College readiness is formed in microsystems, the immediate settings in which students experience everyday life in direct interaction with people, activities, roles, and objects. People could refer to family members, peers, friends. Roles could refer to your role as a sibling or as a parent, at your job, at home. So what this means is that the way you form your microsystem is based on your specific environment. Everybody has a unique microsystem. Now here on this slide, we have a line that splits two separate environments. Your microsystem is your everyday life. The environment in which institutions are designed and your environment rarely come in contact. Educational institutions are designed and modified in a level of the environment where students are not present, but that affects their lives. This means that your unique microsystem might not be taken into account when these institutions are designed. We can't assume that everybody is coming in with the same level of college readiness because we know that it's not true. What else about our environment shapes our college readiness? So these are just more examples of what contributes to the microsystems. Different ideologies in education, so the way that you and your environment value education can affect your success. Institutions, the way institutions are structured can affect student success. Social structures, the structures we experience, whether they're from our jobs, our home life expectations, socioeconomic classes. Educators, the types of educators we encounter and the experiences we have with them can affect us and the way we view education. Individual agency. This is when a person acts on their own behalf. It means they're making their own life decisions. So this is when you decide what's going to happen in your life. You make the decision to go to college. You're in control. Institutions and the imagined student. So educational institutions, especially post-secondary ones, so remember that means anything after high school, they're created for what we call the imagined student. So the imagined student is one that was prepared in high school, they enter credit level courses, they have supportive and knowledgeable family, they're financially stable, they have an open schedule, and they have individual agency. But the reality is that the majority of college students are not coming in with college readiness because 25% of high school graduates are prepared for college level work. That means 75% of students are coming in ill-prepared. 72% of incoming students apply for financial aid. This means that the majority of the students do not have financial stability. 60 to 72% of community college students work. 29% of community college students are first-generation college students. This experience that's real for millions of students across the United States is what we mean when we say that there's a gap. So this reality that they're experiencing falls here. Without college readiness to help them into success, access to college doesn't mean the same thing for one student that it might for another. All of this information is going to help us in understanding the information in the articles. This is what I call content and context building. Now you have some knowledge about the demographics of community college students across the United States. You might relate to a lot of the information found in the articles. The college experience is unique for everyone. So whether you are a returning student, a brand new student, or a soon-to-be graduate, you've all had varying experiences in college. Think about your own experiences with education so far, and this will help you prepare to answer discussion post number 1. Discussion post number 1. Do you relate to any of the information you read regarding community college students? Explain here. What was the most shocking or most interesting thing that you learned? In what ways can colleges improve the experiences of students? Explain. How prepared do you feel for the workload this semester? Take into consideration all of the classes you're taking. Remember, discussion posts are posted on Canvas. Please respond there. Journal entry number 2, preparing for essay number 1. Please respond to this in your digital journal. Remember, that's the file that you're going to save, whether that be on your computer or on Google Docs, and that's not going to be submitted until the end of the semester. Essay number 1 is a rhetorical analysis of an article related to the college experience. You will pick one article and analyze the author's use of the rhetorical appeals to effectively persuade the readers that their argument is valid. To prepare for this essay, please list and clearly define the 4 rhetorical appeals here.